I'm here.
All right, guys. So we're going to start off the 2020 Quiggin Out MMA revised podcast. Got a great show today. We're going to start off with introducing all of my guests. We're going to start with Leon, and we'll move our way to Daniel and then John, and kind of talk a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll discuss, what we're really here to discuss in regards to your life and how MMA has changed it awkwardly enough.
My name is Leon Scott. I'm an independent pro wrestler based in the state of Florida, but I travel throughout the country and a little bit internationally. Obviously, my name has been used recently by Colby Covington as a nickname for Leon Edwards for some unknown reason. But we'll get more into the details of that, I guess, later on.
All right, Daniel, you're up.
All right, I'm Daniel Cormier, often mistaken on Twitter for Daniel Cormier, and it's been interesting. I'm a computer programmer, also out of Florida usually, and just trying to navigate strange people on Twitter yelling at me.
And I'm Jon Jones. I have @Jon Jones on Twitter, and I have for many years been getting the hate mail for the UFC's Johnny Bones Jones, and I try to respond to all of it and act as confused and weird as possible. I'm essentially his crisis PR rodeo clown.
If you ever come up with a new Twitter handle, just crisis rodeo clown. So, Leon, I want to start with you just because you've kind of been the most recent mistaken identity. Obviously, John and Daniel have been going through this for years. Mm-hmm. Like, talk about that first interaction and then how it happened, and like what's been the response coming from you to be like, what are you talking about?
So it was Sunday a couple weeks ago, and I had just come back from working out, and I was going to go and take a shower. I put something up on Twitter, closed it, got in the shower. When I got out, I had 137 notifications, and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this is well beyond what something happens, at least in like a 15-minute span. And I saw that I had been tagged by Colby Covington, who I had a passing, knowledge of. I knew he was a guy who was fighting and wearing a MAGA hat and using that as a means to kind of promote his fight and whatnot and add some drama to it. And so I wasn't that familiar with him. I follow MMA in passing. I used to follow it much more closely, but I don't care as much about it as I think I used to. So I wasn't really familiar with it. And really, from what I could understand, initially I didn't know that he was using my name as a nickname for Leon Edwards. I thought it was just a case of accidental tag, and so I reacted pretty quickly to it because I, didn't want to be associated with it. Within minutes, I realized, oh, okay, this was intentional. He's, for some reason, come up with a nickname for this guy where he is acting as though he doesn't know what his real name is. And so from there, much like John, I started engaging with absolutely every single person and acting as oblivious or just coming up with bizarre stories to tell surrounding whatever comment that they made, which, went on for several hours. I mean, I think by hour 5 or 6, I was starting to get slightly euphoric, and I had been staring at my phone for so long. I was like, I need to put this down. I don't even know where I'm at anymore.
I know that one.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because none of the three of you look anything like the people that you're supposed to be mistaken
not
for.
At all.
Like, not even close.
No.
And I remember years and years back when John actually followed me, and I was like, oh my God. And then I looked and I was like, who's this guy named Jon Jones? And I'm glad we've connected and stayed in touch all these years, because it has been a journey. So, Leon, with you at the beginning, like you said, you went from, just got home from the gym, took a shower. you come back to 100 and something notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Branching right into it, I'm just going to ask Daniel and John, like, was that how it started with you guys? Something small, and then you were like, what am I supposed to do? Or did you just jump right into, making sure they were as confused as possible when they got their responses?
I'll let Daniel go first.
All right. I didn't really know what was going on at first. I remember I was over at a friend's house. We had a regular thing on a weeknight playing video games, and like my phone kept giving me notifications like, why is Twitter yelling at me? What is this? I just kind of put it aside, and at some point I realized that I was mistaken for somebody else, and I had heard of Daniel Cormier. I never followed MMA at all, but I remember he was in the Olympics in like, I forget when it was, 2000 or 2004 or something. He actually went to the Olympics. So I knew his name from that, but I didn't know why Twitter was trying to yell at him a couple years ago. And eventually I figured out, oh, okay, he's an MMA fighter and he had some fight going on. I'm pretty sure it was with Jon Jones. And I started trying to engage with these people. And John, I think your name was in there really early on as well. And I realized that you were also mistaken for an MMA fighter and kind of followed your lead as far as just like, all right, I'm going to have some fun with these random people yelling at strangers on the internet. And
Hearing cat pictures was the best.
I know the cat pictures are always fun. I enjoy that.
It's like when the other guys are trying to beef, it's like you hear me, pussy, blah blah blah. So they're acting all tough, and we're just swapping cat pictures. Like, does your cat like high fives? Mine does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's always good entertainment.
And it's wholesome. It's the last thing people expect. Just like I'm here. I'm praying for blood. I want violence, and those are the cutest paws I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Look at those little jelly beans.
Exactly, they're little beans. It's
literally got the dichotomy of both sides, like.
Exactly. Like Bones likes cats too, but his are sharper. Actually, speaking of Tiger King.
Oh no, don't do
it. I'm waiting for that to get looped in somehow.
Yeah.
For me, the whole thing mainly started at UFC 151 when he backed out, and actually in the background is you have that poster of the fight that never happened, Bones versus Henderson. I casually followed MMA before. If friends would have pay-per-view events at their house, and if there's beer there, I'd bring some. We'd hang out. It'd be like it's on the background, not really actively watching, but whatever. I enjoy other people's enjoyment. Mm-hmm. And eventually, people were saying like, "Hey, there's this up and coming guy named Jon Jones. Same name, same spelling. Isn't that funny?" Oh, I'm sure nothing will come of that. Then UFC 151 happened, and I had tens of thousands of tweets, just death threats, hate, nothing but just vitriol. Like I knew the context of it kind of quickly because I'd heard of him before, but just the volume was absolutely unbelievable. It was just like phone draining, like just buzz right off the table. And I just respond to every single one. And I just am thinking like, it will never happen again. Surely this will never happen again. This will just be one off. I'll take a day or two off work, be silly, and then it's over. And that was 2012. And it happened again this week.
And we'll get to that too. And the craziest thing is that for anybody who doesn't know, if you haven't followed it as closely, like UFC 151 was one of the few cards that's ever been canceled. There's been a few since then, and then obviously current times, which we're not going any farther than saying current times. So that was a big deal. And I just remember, I think that was right around the time I started to see John's. John just had a target on his back. And I'm talking about you, John, not the actual Bones. Because people just tweet Jon Jones. They don't look at the picture. They don't look at anything about the person. They just go, oh, Jon Jones, this got to be him. And did it. So here we are 8 years later.
Routing service. I'm just going to write the name of my childhood bully, and the internet will magically figure out who I meant. Because that's how computers work.
So it's been amazing to see that. So, and I know at this point, you've even got an entire website devoted to the best ones.
Like Tumblr, yeah. I need to update that. I have a few hundred more from the last update.
So we'll throw in and we'll kind of go backwards this way, but I want to talk about obviously Jones getting arrested on Thursday. And I want to know what that was like waking up on Thursday morning, because getting arrested for the third time, another DWI charge, your phone has to be broken at this point.
It went from 70% to 30% in like half an hour or less. I even had a charger that I charged at 1.5 normal speed. It could not keep up with the drain from the notifications. It was insane, and it was just. It's sad that I have a playbook for this almost now, because it happens so often and so consistently. But just that it was just comically perfect and so on brand for him. Of course, there's a gun. Of course, you're drunk in a car, and of course, it's going to be that mezcal from from I just realized that I've only seen his name printed, Jorge Masvidal. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like I never pronounced it. I'm gonna look even more stupid. But it's been interesting. Just everyone's like again with this. He never learns, but this is where I have my most fun. Like I said, I'm like his unofficial crisis PR rodeo clown, and I just get to be really, really silly.
I think that's the best part about it is, like you said, you were a casual MMA watcher. Scott, Leon, you said I'm gonna call you both just because it says Scott, and that's what's gonna happen. You said you used to watch it, not as much, and then Daniel, you said you basically did not watch it, like it was not
Right.
your. So what has changed for you since getting dragged into all this? Are you a fan of the sport now, or is it still like, oh God, another one?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I'm definitely not like, oh God, another one. I've watched a few cards, and I've live tweeted a couple with John. That's hugely entertaining.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, that's been fun. Need to do some more of that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But I have watched a couple, and I have enjoyed it. One thing that I enjoyed was seeing the actual sportsmanship between the fighters, which was a little bit surprising to me. I don't know why, but I was a little bit surprised by that. Like, you see him kind of pat each other on the back after a round and after the end of the fight and stuff like that. And it's nice to see.
And I think that's the misconception of the sport is anybody who doesn't watch it. I mean, I'm somebody who's been, 12 years in, been covering it for 10 years. You see a difference. You see the person behind the fighter, and like just not only the camaraderie in the cage, but outside of it. And you'll see a lot of that with, certain fighters, and DC's kind of one of those guys. So at least for you, you've got more of the stand-up guy. John, unfortunately, you're getting the short end of the stick on this one. So.
I get the worst one you could get.
And I mean, watching Jones, it's been great, but then you see this downslide, and again, we're 8 years into this. You'd think people would have been like, oh, that's the wrong John, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it never stops. So,
Well, it's like a constant influx of new fans into the sport, near as I can figure. That's actually really interesting that he's been like number one for this many years and is still enough of a draw that he's bringing in all sorts of brand new stupid people that think I'm him.
So go ahead, Dan.
I definitely have to say, Jon Jones fans are a lot angrier than Daniel Cormier fans.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell when some mistaken MMA fan tweets at me who they're a fan of.
How tired of you of that crying face gif of DC?
Oh my God!
That's
Someone once tweeted at me a video montage of DC trying to kick in a fight. It was apparently that's just not Cormier's thing. And it was hilarious. And I can never find it again. So if someone hears this and knows where that is, tweet it at me.
I would love to see that. Just what fans do with with the videos and how they'll keep pushing one thing. Like I always get at least like 1,000 picograms tweets still. I still get definitely junkie. I mean, it's who's mean to people about like rich people about using cocaine? Like that's like what cool rich people do. But everyone's like, no, you're not allowed to do that because we don't like you. Like, not that I'm advocating. It's just like, well, I think it was it may have been like a Chris Rock routine or something. Just if you're, I'm paraphrasing this horribly, but if you have your mind made up that you're just gonna hate somebody, they can be doing anything. You'll be like, look at that bitch over there eating crackers like she owns the place.
Yeah.
Like,
What I was surprised by is the number of people who were direct messaging me and telling me I was handling the situation wrong, that I should be challenging Colby Covington, that I'm not promoting myself well, that I should be acting differently.
So they still didn't know it was you.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I could tell there was obviously a certain number of trolls who clearly did know what they were doing and just trying to engage. But then there was also the sheer number of people who clearly, I mean, and I have tons of media of myself in videos, wrestling, and tons of promo pictures from wrestling. It's very clearly that I am a 6'4", 275-pound white man, not a 5'8", 170-pound black man. I mean, pretty clear difference between the two of us. Also, I am dressed up in very over-the-top gear. That's not what an MMA fighter would typically wear in his promotional photos.
shoulder spikes are I don't see those in too many.
No.
I mean, I think it was in Here Comes the Boom.
I'm dressing exactly like that in the fight.
Is that a cat?
I saw John's face. I saw it in the background.
Are you a cat guy too?
I love cats. Yeah.
I thought I just saw a tail.
No, that was my dog. I actually, if you notice me shifting around, it's me trying to keep my dogs from playing with one another while I'm on this call.
I mean, stranger things have happened to all of you, so let's really be.
Yeah. No, they're calm now. I don't know what's happening. Here, we'll do a little guest spot. Come here. What are you doing? No, maybe not. I was gonna come over here, but now he's acting like he's afraid for some reason.
Well, they heard John was a cat person and Daniel's a cat person, so they were like, "We're out. We're out."
I love cats too. I don't have any cats.
I was just so excited to see a tail. I'm like, oh, another thing in common.
Another one.
When I was watching the screens, I saw John's eyes get like this. So out of all of them, and I'm going to ask all of you guys the same question. Leon, for you, what was the strangest or like rudest one reply that you got in regards to just what happened in the past couple of weeks?
It's sort of hard to pull out exactly what. I mean, I think somebody DM'd me and told me that if I wasn't going to fight like a man, that I should just kill myself. That was probably the worst one. I don't even know how many of them called me a pussy. I mean, it was I lost count, so they were all pretty much in that vein. I think probably the best part of all of it, and maybe this is going on too long, but is the sheer number of people who were telling me to stay in the fight and to take the fight, even though I wasn't even the guy that he wanted to fight. I was being removed from the fight by my own volition. So I don't know how that makes you a pussy for not taking the fight when I was already in the fight that I didn't know I was even in.
I can't even, like, what are you supposed to say to that?
That's what I said, well, I didn't know I was in the fight. I think I'm still in it, but I didn't know I was in it. But I'm going to stay in it. So I think I'm actually taking the fight. I think you're mistaken.
And they're like, yeah, they're telling all their friends, I got him to take the fight.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of anything that would re-break Colby's jaw. So, like, you.
Yeah.
And we know, like we said, Bones fans are a little more intense than Daniel's fans. But for you, Daniel, what was the strangest one that you can think of where you were just like, Is this really happening right now?
The past few days actually hasn't been too bad for me, but there was one guy, I forget which fight it was after or near, but there's one guy who like really wanted to challenge me to a fight. He's like a amateur, or maybe he was semi-pro MMA fighter, and he just really wanted to fight me. And he said he was in San Jose, which is where I know DC has a gym there that he practices at, or that might be where he's based. And so I played along. I goes, all right, come fight me. Meet me here at 8 o'clock. I don't know what came of it. I never heard from the guy again. I hope he showed up and just, he was just waiting and nothing ever happened.
We need to find that guy just so we can be like, hey, I heard DC didn't show up for your fight. What's going on with that?
Yeah. Well, you can find him if you look for me tweeting at someone and saying, do you want dinner first or do we go straight to the pounding?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was so proud of you. That was such a
All right, John. So where is the line drawn? And I think one of the things you tweeted out a couple of days ago was probably the strangest thing you got in the DMs, and we can discuss that if you want. But
that wasn't the weirdest or worst that I've gotten overall, but it was. I love turning like the people that are wanting to be very physically violent toward me. The way they phrase it is just sometimes just off enough that I choose to interpret it as coming on to me sexually. So I always have to gently explain, like I'm, like you're totally hot, and on any other day I'd be all wreck me, daddy. But as it happens, I'm currently happily married to a lady, so unfortunately I have to be big beefy man ships passing in the night. But I've always tried to be very, very sex positive. Things like that come up, but there is one that I don't think I've talked about before. I stumbled upon it again. Somebody emailed me asking to subscribe to my used underwear.
And
they actually were talking about USD versus the Great British Pound exchange rates because they've done this before. They're telling me what they like and how they like it, and I don't want to repeat it, but it's specific enough that's like, this guy is a professional at whatever that is, and I could use an extra $500 a month. I mean, I'm not picky, and he didn't look at my profile photo.
I don't know that I want to ask this, but did you send it?
You better ask it. You weren't going to. I was.
Well, all I want to say is the mailboxes, etc., does not permit me entry anymore. Not so much the shipping, but the returns.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's always like some weird threat of violence or something. Just some guy offered to try and train with me. I get a few like gym invitations, like people either wanting me to train them for free because they can't pay, or to visit their gym to put them on the map. I get like weird promo things, like it's like through my website. I have so I have jonjones.com. It's where I put I'm a video game developer, so it's all like technical stuff for that. But my face is on there, my LinkedIn, everything. To go through the contact form, you have to look at my face in order to write the whole thing. It's just like, yes, I would like to subscribe to your used underwear. Meet me at my gym. Like, you past a certain point, you have to fail so many intelligence tests that I don't mind getting really coarse. And I mean, that guy set the bar pretty low.
There's not a lot of times I'm speechless in a conversation, but that did it.
Well, but on the other side of the coin, I have so many people that still think I'm Bones, saying, this doesn't matter, man. Jesus loves you. You're such a good guy. Like, you can get up, you can do this. Like, genuine people like having his back, backing him up. Like, I believe in you. You got me through some hard times because I like watching you be violent and lose your title and disgrace the sport. They just keep sending that encouragement, and I like forwarding some of the nice ones to Bones, so at least he gets something decent. But they think I'm him. They're just trying to send encouragement, but also there's a very narrow segment of, because he was the Jesus guy for so long, which is hilarious because he's a heel. Like, you don't usually do the Jesus guy and the heel bit, but he makes it work.
Yeah.
But they're disappointed Christians, ones that are like you've fallen off the straight and narrow path of Christ, Bones. Please, I will lead you back to our Savior. It's like it's so weird, pushy. Just like, this is a battle for your soul. Like, yeah, that's what Twitter DMs are for, soul battles.
Well, and I think it's cool that you send the messages, the positive ones.
And John, wasn't there one time that Bones actually directed someone back to you?
Yes, that was amazing. That was legitimately so damn funny. I mean, just 100% full credit to Bones. It was hysterical. Someone, so I found out about this while I was on a plane landing. Someone tweeted at Bones saying, like, "Hey, I think you're a great game developer, and your mustache looks awesome," or something like that. And then Bones retweeted it saying, "I think you're looking for @Jon Jones." And that was the first time Bones had ever acknowledged me. He actually unblocked me for the first time in years. I don't know why he blocked me originally. He unblocked me to do that. And it was legitimately hilarious. And it was so weird because I was coming for a landing and I didn't have airplane mode in my phone because I'm an asshole. And I saw the tweet come in, like, from him, like, the notification, and then lose connection. I'm like the last hour of like flying in and going in for a landing or whatever. I'm like, was that real? Like, oh my God. After years of nothing, total silence. I thought my phone was messing with me, but yeah, I was very happy and proud about that.
Well, and I think that's the craziest part about it, is that he blocked you. For what reason, who knows? I'm sure he got tired of people going, "Hey, look, this guy's stealing your name."
Yeah.
And that's another thing I've seen so many times. And I don't know if, Daniel, you've had it as much, or, Leon, where people are like, "You should change your name."
I had it, but not, and I'll just say this because this is another weird fact that ties into this, is my Twitter handle, I've had it so long, like probably 16 years or whenever it first started. Leon Scott is a male model as well as rugby player in Australia or New Zealand. And so I got the Twitter handle, and then I found out about this guy, and I was like, oh shit, this guy's probably going to want this Twitter handle because that's the name he goes by, and he's a lot more famous than I am.
He's sculpted out of marble.
Yes, I know. It's ridiculous. He's absurdly sexy. Completely ridiculous. He's also a rugby player, so not only is he like terribly good looking, but he's also kind of a badass, like rugby players are definitely very badass. But anyways, I had the Twitter handle, and I've had minor times when people have tweeted him expecting the name to belong to him, but it's mine. And I had that come up quite a bit on Instagram as well, but nothing too weird because clearly he's not got a whole, millions of bizarre fans. Probably fairly normal people. So
not in the business of generating atrocity after atrocity.
No.
And actually, my wife just left me for the other Leon Scott guy. I didn't close it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. We'll just all go be pretend.
Close the window, John. Close the window.
My God, a whole other connection. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So basically, Leon's like the OG of this. Like, he's been dealing with this on multiple levels.
On bizarre levels. Well, and if you guys remember, like back in the early days of Twitter, people would buy Twitter handles and sell them because if it belonged to a brand that wanted it, then, and so my thought was, well, I got this name, I'm just going to keep it because, I don't care if I get confused with this male model. It's not hurting me really. And maybe he'll want it someday if he gets more famous, gets into acting, whatever, and I could sell it. But now that shit doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares about that. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I did pretty well early on by registering at Fleshlight, and that paid rent for. Just it was an awkward high school nickname.
Yeah.
All right, Leon, are you gonna do it or am I gonna have to?
What's that?
We gonna ask why that was a high school nickname.
You go for it. You're the host.
It was a weird homeschool situation. It's just at least said students mended. I do get a lot of threats about the name though, or people telling me I need to give, not sell, give my account to Bones because spoiled celebrity millionaires need that. Yeah. And people try to justify like he deserves it more than you because he punches heads and I watch that. And I only have room for one Jon Jones in my brain.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, there's like a Martian Manhunter. I mean, the Tom Jones' son, the stupid like little desert fox with the big ears. It's Skippy Jon Jones. It's a kid's book.
Well, again, your name isn't like that outlandish where other people couldn't have the name. Like it really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very uncreative, like witness protection program name. Like, I don't care if he lives that lives that much. Yeah, Jon Jones, sure.
Yeah. So the FBI agent gave the guy who was like, "Oh shit, last minute. It's Jon Jones."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't fill out that form.
This isn't like a My Blue Heaven thing where they're like they get creative with it.
Yeah.
Good reference. Oh man, that's
yes.
Inflation watch list. Thank you.
So as far as like, I know John, you've gotten some opportunities. Daniel, has anyone tried to reach out to you to try and not only like take your Twitter handle or like invite you to gyms or things like that?
Oh, I've definitely gotten a couple of those. I had someone actually, I want to say in the last like 3 or 4 weeks, ask to buy my Twitter handle from me. I didn't respond to that DM, but it seemed more earnest than other offers that have come out in the past. I just thought it was strange. I've definitely had invites to gyms, invites to high schools, like a high school MMA program, I guess. A couple of those. Yeah, somebody really wanted me to send $1,000 to them on Square, like for their son's training. Yeah.
Does Daniel Cormier just randomly sponsor children's training?
I don't know. He seems like a pretty nice guy, but
yeah.
Like this kid, blood sports for him. I'm funding his education.
I think I need to borrow some of my friends' children to feel like this is my boy here. Wrestling MMA.
Send me $1,000.
I will teach it to fight.
Yeah. Your name.
I pay you. Like, is there a precedent for that? Is there a fighter that's going around sending money to children? Just like, yes, you'll be the fighters of tomorrow.
Yeah.
You may only be 5, but you're like hands.
The philanthropist Daniel Cormier.
Well, and you have to think fighter pay is always something that's going to be discussed, and DC and Jon Jones being the higher paid guys, of course people are going to assume, yeah, this is something they could do. But I'm like, again, hey, I don't know you. Send me $1,000.
Kind of a bold introduction.
Well, and Daniel, how much did they even offer you a price for your Twitter handle, or was it just, hey, I want to buy it, let's talk?
It was just, hey, I want to buy it, let's talk.
And I wish people would try to buy my Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But again, like,
for.
Again, Jon Jones, we're going to call you witness protection from now on.
I have, well, to be honest, I have cashed in other sort of unexpected ways from the whole name thing. Like, because the UFC knows me, they sent me front row seats to Madison Square Garden for what was that?
My God.
UFC 217.
What a card! What a card!
And 223 at Barclays. That was that.
I like how you had this ready.
I have like a wall full of like ticket stubs and little mementos right above my workspace. So I was secretly like getting those off to show. And Bellator actually put me up overnight at Bellator 194. When I was in Sun, I got to sit next to Hoist Gracie. I had like front row VIP seats. Bought me dinner. This was the best one. I was on Sports Center. I went out to Sports Center. I think it was like the CBS studios, and they interviewed me on the air where they're reading the tweets. I didn't realize they're going to read the tweets where I'm talking about how Brock Lesnar breaks every toilet he's ever used. So there's one moment where I'm on ESPN or like on Sports Center, just going woo, with the total like, oh God, he's going to kill me. Look at my face.
But yeah, a great interview though. Like that really was.
I had a lot of fun with it. My wife was there as well. She's so supportive of me through this whole thing. It's I've met a lot of professional fighters now. I met during the course of my work, I was visiting Electronic Arts in Vancouver, and Corey Anderson was there filming his motion capture session for UFC 3, and I got recognized by Jeff Harrower, who is the lead gameplay programmer on UFC 3. He's the one that's like he was the community outreach guy for all UFC stuff. Mm-hmm. He recognized me in the lunchroom. He's like, "Are you Jon Jones from the UFC?" He took a selfie with me and then gave me a tour of the studio. Like nobody gets in the mocap studio. So I got to meet Corey Anderson, who already knew who I was. He interrupted his lunch to come over and take a picture with me and shake my hand. He's such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. I've gotten to meet Forrest Griffin. He tweeted out, "It's like finally Jon Jones I can beat." But honestly, the UFC 217 and 223 legit made me a fan of the sport because there were like 6 titles changing over in one freaking night, and I was situated so every fighter walked by me before leaving. Like I was 3 feet away from everyone. Couldn't make eye contact with DC, but I wouldn't blame him. But it's been a lot of fun. Like people have been incredibly kind. I've met a lot of really interesting, cool people, the present company included.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I think that's the greatest part is that it's brought a whole new level of camaraderie. Like, Daniel, you said you're in the tech world, John, the video game developing. There's a chance the two of you could have crossed paths at some point organically. Mm-hmm. But it was MMA.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That brought you two together.
And we got to meet in person. Like he fixed a problem in my phone.
All right, I gotta hear about this. Like, how did that go about?
It was there. I think you had like a. Well, let me tell your story, Daniel.
It's all right. I remember you had tweeted about you were having some problem with the way your phone was doing something with your contacts, and like not that long after that, I was going to be in New York for a weekend, and so we arranged to meet up that first evening because you were just outside of Manhattan, and we met up, and you took us to a rooftop bar somewhere, and
then we walked down the line. That was really fun, and you fixed the contact problem on my phone. It was Google Hangouts. It wasn't reading my contact.
That's what it was.
Hey, look, Google Hangouts problems.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was so much fun to actually finally get to meet face to face after having the weirdest, narrowest, most specific thing in common.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
that was definitely fun. It was good to meet in person.
I'm glad that finally happened.
Well, now knowing that Daniel and I don't live too far, the odds of that happening might be better too.
Yeah,
exactly. Seriously, it's the smallest of worlds.
Well, and I feel like at this point, Matt, you and I will end up crossing paths by accident, or probably already have at some point, and we just haven't got deep enough in a conversation to realize where.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I've been to a few amateur promotions around here, and with Leon Wrestling, it's really funny. Like you said, those small circles. Mm-hmm. It's entirely possible that you've probably been somewhere, and hopefully you weren't that giant guy I heckled years and years and years ago.
It's very possible. I seem to encourage a lot of heckling.
I think his name was like Inferno or something.
Oh God, no! That's a terrible name. I'd rather be mistaken for Leon Edwards than Inferno. I don't even know who Inferno is, but
Just going by the name, not really good.
yeah.
Well, and MMA again, ironically, brought together people in a way that nobody thought would ever happen. So I think that's the craziest thing here is that, while John, you've developed, it's almost like a new persona. Like you already had the mustache. Like you already had the look of somebody with this. And the way you react to it, I think, is the best because you could be like, hey, not him. End of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But you've literally over years have built just giant list of tweets and just people redirecting, whether it be support or hatred. It's amazing. Like I don't even know what to say to that.
Thanks, man. If it's gonna happen, I may as well have fun with it, and it's nice when I can meet cool people and make people smile just from a very, very silly thing. And occasionally it's fun as hell just to just pound the hell out of someone that's just being a total dick. I try to be mindful of the dogpiling, but I mean sometimes some people just earn it.
Yeah.
Like I've had some people like when I'll just like correct a typo of theirs in a funny way, and I'll get like a literal I actually have to worry about it death threat. Yeah, it's a whole weird thing. I had a couple years ago I was getting recognized in airports, like TSA especially for some reason would always they recognize you for like the ESPN thing.
They've got two pictures up. This is Jon Jones. This is also Jon Jones. Don't be mistaken.
Dick pills, just a dick.
So I got to say about TSA, like I have had a number of times where I'm going through an airport and TSA looks at my license and goes, "Do you know the MMA fighter?"
Really?
And, yeah.
You're like, no, never heard of him. Or be like, next time, just be like, no, that's me.
Yeah, I'm him.
You don't see the resemblance?
Yeah.
Very different off-season look.
Yeah, people look a little different on TV. Okay.
Yeah, you go on TV and it either, well, in my case, it removes 55 pounds.
I think that's the best though, because John, like you said, you were on SportsCenter, and I distinctly remember because I watched it again. Is they were like, "Do you like sports?" And you were like, "No."
On SportsCenter doesn't like sports. The scroll says underneath.
It was so funny what they were actually putting on screen. Like the one time they featured my tweets on SportsCenter without talking to me, and I had a bunch of people tweet me like, "John, I'm in an airport bar and they're talking about you on ESPN."
You're like, no, they're talking about the other one. They're like, no, it's definitely you.
Yeah.
The tweet that they picked that still just absolutely slays me. Someone was asking, well, who would win between you and Bones? I said, who would win between the world's best professional fighter and a taco-filled human potato? Let me do the math. They ran with that. So ESPN SportsCenter, Jon Jones, taco-filled human potato. I'm not a proud man, but I'm proud of that.
I mean, I think I had tweets featured on one MMA show that was on Spike years ago, and I did the same thing. I was like, ooh, but I actually was doing it on purpose to try and get on there, not just tweets.
It's amazing what'll punch through the awareness or what'll get randomly amplified. Like Brazilian MMA outlets are absolutely the worst.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like I think like fact checkers are illegal there because it's always seems like it's like the Portuguese blah 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 at Jon Jones Valencia. I have fun. I actually one fun thing. So many years ago, I was traveling to China for work to interview different art studios to work with for one of my projects, and I worked for a company that was publishing the UFC games. I think this was the very first UFC game still in development, and so since fighters are signed and dropped and whatever so frequently, in many cases, they'll have like entire fighters and movement sets all created that they cut before launch. You'll never see. And I learned this when I was walking through doing a tour. They have the quality assurance area where they're testing the game, one guy was testing damage. So I didn't realize Shaquille O'Neal had wanted to be an MMA fighter for like a second. So I was watching this. I traveled halfway across the world. I'm jet lagged as hell. Everything is weird and surreal. And I look at this monitor where it's just Shaquille O'Neal just getting his face beaten in over and over, but not dying because he has the cheat code on. It was just to test like the bruising and damage and breaking the face. So like for 3 minutes while someone is telling me something, it's just Shaquille O'Neal just getting bap, 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 blood flying. I had to interrupt. I'm like, why is that?
why is that happening?
Well, they explained like, oh yeah, he might be in the game. We're just doing the quality assurance, but just like, what is this a game? Just beat Shaquille O'Neal to not death.
Listen, we don't talk about Shaq Fu, okay? We don't talk about Shaq Fu.
Yeah. It's a sequel to Shaq Fu.
I'd forgotten that. Oh my god.
I think he has forgotten that. And I think he wants to keep it that way. Just the tagline of the show, I'm gonna be like, and never forget Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
It's like in a career that included Kazam, like Shaq Fu, like oh yeah. What a weird world.
Listen, man, I saw him on they replayed the Street Fighter tournament that he did a few years ago. And I'm like, why is Shaquille O'Neal playing video games? Like, it was weird.
I didn't. Oh, well, I have something else to watch now. My Blue Heaven and Shaquille O'Neal playing Street Fighter.
It's weird because they have coaches.
What?
They have coaches coaching them, standing next to them.
Cornermen.
Oh.
And not only that, like the first one, you see Shaq playing, he puts his hands up, and his coach is sitting there playing for him. It was entertaining, to say the least, but it was also very weird. And then there was a rapper, and then somebody, I don't even remember who else was in it. It was just so weird. So I think it was from 2017. Go find that.
I'm looking for it right now.
Interested.
We're going to be talking to John. He's going to be like, shh, shh. I'm trying to watch this.
I need to watch something done poorly.
So for all of you, has there ever been a time, so again, Leon, like I said, you're a little bit, well, not really, you're newer and older to this because you said you've been mistaken for, 3 different people at this point. Has there ever been a time where you're like, I wish people would stop, or do you feel like it just creates a whole new sense of, I don't want to say purpose, but a whole new sense of just daily entertainment for you that you are, ineptly a part of?
I don't think, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I think it amused me more than anything, especially the people who kept telling me, well, enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. And I was like, well, I've been on TV with Major League Wrestling and TNA Impact for much longer than 15 minutes. I've been on national TV as a wrestler many times. Do I only get to enjoy 15 minutes of that, or do I get to enjoy the whole time? Where is the line here? It's sort of I think it's more of an amusement to me that it's sort of tired insults that people want to go to. It doesn't upset me. Like, I don't think to myself, at no point was I like, oh well, this is bad for me. It was more like, this is hilarious and I'm just gonna run with it.
That's all.
We'll go to Daniel next.
No, there's never a time when I'm like, I just want it to go away. Actually, it's what really got me to use Twitter. So I had a Twitter account, and I followed a couple of people who were doing stuff I was interested in, but didn't really use it very much at all. But I think it was that evening that I mentioned earlier where just the internet started yelling at me and realizing what was going on, that I was like, oh, okay, let me play with this. That actually got me to use Twitter. And now it's probably my go-to social network at this point. And it's been a lot of fun. And those times like this week where, why do I have 20 mentions in the last hour? What's going on? And I see Jon Bones Jones has done something again. It's and then I go to @Jon Jones and see what he's doing to respond to the current situation, which is always good fun. And it's just been fun. And I'm a tech guy. I've worked in the infosec industry for pretty much my whole career, and so I've found a lot of infosec people that I follow and who are very knowledgeable and very skilled in what they do. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably are aware of that because I share their stuff quite a bit. Yeah, so it's just been fun. And I do wonder how many of the people that follow me know I'm not the fighter versus how many still think I'm the fighter, because I know there's some of you out there.
Well, don't worry. Like I said, I have a feeling just putting John's name in the title of this alone is going to get hundreds of, if not thousands of people clicking, Jon Jones did an interview? Again, they won't look at it. It'll say video game development. No, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
And for the record, I mean, this was set up before the thing happened with Jon Jones this week.
Yeah, exactly. That is
Amazing.
It was supposed to happen last weekend. I know we were all trying to work on schedules, and then mine didn't work out. But the fact that we set this up and then John got arrested.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was this is going to make an excellent topic for the show.
It's become a weird part of my life and something that I look forward to. But to be completely honest, if it happened any more than if it lasted longer than 2 or 3 days at a time and happened more than 2 or 3 times a year, it would probably drive me crazy.
Yeah.
As it is, it's just it's like a circus shows up at the wrong door by mistake, and I just decide, okay, I'm gonna be a clown for a couple days and have fun. So I've made friends out of it. I've gotten to do all kinds of just bafflingly cool shit that I never thought I would be able to do, and it's opened up so many doors. It's I work really hard in my career. I've freelanced for a long time. I try to be really in control of my shit and what I'm doing. And it's fun having one part of my life I have very little control over, where it starts or stops. Some weird thing that just imposes itself on me that I can just have fun with. I'm not in control when it starts or stops. It's just a fun situation to manage. Then it goes away, and I do it again a few months later. That's been really fun. And just seeing how it brings people together and connects people. I love live tweeting fights now. I'm getting into it. I have MMA buddies that I do that stuff with in person. Each of those events, I brought an MMA friend that's a huge fan that was able to give me context, so it's not like the tickets were wasted. It's been a net positive for me. It's made me more outgoing. It's made me more weird, and it just opened me up to I never really liked sports before, really connected with it, but I see what an awesome thing it is to bring people together, have something fun in common, people to root for, personalities to get into. The Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Super fun.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, really.
They're all weird artists.
Yeah.
Violent artists, and I just couldn't love it more. I'm waiting. I'd like all reality to get back to normal because I want to see live events again. That's as far as I'll get into that. But the Ultimate Fighter, going back and watching historical fights. Actually, shit. During the middle of a UFC event, I'll ask someone I've never seen a stoppage like that before. Is that the first time that's happened? Or, hey, this fighter is really good. Is there any other fights he's been in that I should watch, or he or she? And I get amazing recommendations, from people that run, they're people in MMA media giving me, it's hey, here are things that I enjoy that I get to enjoy. There's
certain things I'll show to people. Frank Mir being one of the only people in UFC history to not break not one but 2 people's limbs.
What? Really?
Yeah. So I'll send those over. It's Frank Mir versus Tim Sylvia. It's back from UFC 46. Hey, John. And UFC 140, which is also a Bones fight. So you get Bones and Machida.
I remember. Oh, the walk-off choke.
No, the Kimura. The
Kimura. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Nasty.
It's okay.
Nasty.
But wow. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah. So I can make recommendations all day long. See, and that's the thing for me is that, I was into football as a kid. watching football, never playing. I was, do photography, I do writing. I don't like to get hit. The one time I threw a punch was in like 10th grade, and I literally went, and my hand opened up right before it hit the person's face. So for me to like something like MMA, like you said, it's the people who liked it back in their, early 2000s, even going back further than that. They weren't regular, people. They were the hardcore fans. They were into it. They knew everything about it. And they were people who could fight themselves usually. Like, those were the kind of people who watched it. And I feel like it's evolved so much from that. And I remember, I think it was The Ultimate Fighter, the season with Forrest Griffin and Rampage Jackson, that I saw some of my first live fights, and I went, oh my God. I said, this is awesome. And then, went to my first live event in 2012. The UFC had a fight in Sunrise, Florida, which, Daniel, you should be laughing right now because Sunrise is in, like, the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's like
but then,
a really nice name because it's, like, impossibly remote.
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
And the camaraderie that you felt, like, I had interviewed Ian McCall a few months prior, and he was fighting on that card. And I remember we got down to Sunrise at like 10 in the morning for a card that didn't start until 7 at night. And I had texted him, hey, can we do an interview? He's like, yeah, just come to my hotel room. And I remember going, what? Like, what do you mean? I can just come? Oh, yeah, I'm right over here. He's like, come on up. Guy had never met me before, knew nothing about me other than the one interview we did. And I think that was the day I knew I wanted to keep doing this.
That's awesome.
Um,
Being that accessible, like, incredible.
And I think that's where MMA is different. And I'll beat the dead horse, and everybody who's ever listened to me talk is going to be like, again. But
It's a terrible.
you can't tweet like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or somebody and be like, hey, I love your work, great job, and expect them to every time get back to you. Fighters look forward to that stuff. And I think that's where you were talking about where, you've turned it into a game. You really haven't turned it into something enjoyable, but you've also gained, friends that you never probably would have connected with. Of course, we're talking to you and Daniel, but everyone else that you've connected with. You guys are live tweeting fights where 10 years ago, would you have ever even thought about something like that? Probably not.
Like, why on earth would that be a thing that I would do? Much less enjoy immensely. I just want to say, though, like, beating a dead horse, like, that's an awful thing to call Tito. I mean, I've got jokes.
Oh my God. Ooh.
In all seriousness, though, I like, after announcing I'm gonna buy the mezcal from Jorge and him retweeting that, if I ever meet Bones, I'm certain he's going to just kill me on sight.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah.
Be like, hey, I brought you a gift. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I brought two.
He turns around, he sees your face, and you're like, it's a bottle of mezcal. So, thank you guys for everything. This is fantastic. I'm trying to keep it in that time frame. But what I kind of want to do is open it up for you guys to talk about, what you normally do, as far as, kind of giving yourself a plug, because that's how we're going to support each other throughout all this. So we'll start with Leon, and whoever wants to go after that.
Sure. We didn't touch on this earlier, but actually I'm also in tech. That's what my normal job is. I work for a company that does visitor relationship management, so like GDPR and CCPA modules and ad block recovery, stuff like that for publishers. But besides that, obviously, I'm in the wrestling business. I've been doing it almost 20 years. I've been all over the place. So you can find me as Leon Scott on pretty much any social media platform, or Leon of the Wasteland, because I do a post-apocalyptic gimmick.
Seems fitting right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems very fitting. Actually, I've got some content coming pretty soon surrounding what's going on right now, and maybe some I Told You So's coming from Leon Scott as a character.
Oh, that's even better. So we have basically 3 tech guys and someone who knows about tech doing this. And we're talking about MMA. So let's figure that one out real quick. All right, Dan, you're up.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a computer programmer, working mostly in InfoSec. I've worked for some antivirus companies. I work for a security awareness company right now, and just enjoying what I do.
And of course, last but not least.
So I'm a game developer. I actually, unfortunately, just got laid off a couple months ago. So it's really funny now that I'm actively interviewing, and people are definitely going to be seeing this video and my Twitter account and wondering what on earth, like why are you sending like sexually suggestive homosexual love letters to people that want to hurt you? It's like, I have hobbies.
Yeah. What I'm into.
Listen, what I do on my own time is my own business.
Don't judge.
It's respectful and sex positive.
Yeah.
So basically TLDR, I build and run art teams. I used to be an artist, and I've worked remotely most of my career, and I try to work with studios and teams to let them live where they want and help make cool games alongside me. So right now I live in Brooklyn, and I'm probably going to be moving in the near future as soon as reality turns back to normal to go find my next thing. So it's very fun trying to manage this in as close to a PG or PG-13 rated way as I can, while looking like someone that people would want to give money to on an ongoing basis.
It's the nicest way of saying I need a job. Like,
yeah.
we're going to keep this PG just so in case they watch an hour into this. You're in an interview and they just go, you don't need to say anything. I watched that.
Yeah.
I watched that. You're good.
Well, the very last call of the week I had on Friday was with meeting with a new company and talking about potential business together. Very first thing the guy says to me was, "Sorry to hear about the DWI, champ."
Oh man.
I saw that tweet and I was like, no.
I've
So good.
multiple.
How do you respond to that?
I've been recognized inside game companies. I was when I was working with Epic Games, the guys who make Fortnite. I was walking through the hallway and a guy stopped and went, "Holy shit, you're good guy Jon Jones."
Good guy, Jon Jones.
They really early on they made a meme of me where Bones wouldn't take the fight, but I would. So good guy Jon Jones has never hurt a fly, but would fight the American gangster on 2 days' notice.
Yeah.
Like 1,500 memes of me being like uses a 78-inch reach to help you get items off the top shelf. It's like, you're gonna get memed. That is best case, like Captain Charity.
So, for any potential employees, you should listening to this. You should probably watch Jon Jones's GDC presentation rather than the Sports Night interview.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, now's the time to, get things out there. And of course, you working in the video game development field, everybody here's been doing what they're passionate about for the last at least decade. Leon's got 2 decades, just because I don't have a timeline for everybody else. But I think that's the coolest part. And like you said, you have JonJones.com.
It took 11 years. 11 years I waited. And I found out that Bones had the chance to buy it, but didn't. This is when he was wrapping Bentleys around cars or around trees. Would spend $1,500 on the .com. And I did. They ended up giving it to me for less, just because I was friendly and paid on time. But yeah, I've never been. Actually, one thing I did want to put to rest. People always ask me if I've ever been approached about, by him or anybody about giving away the account or selling it or selling the .com or anything. Never a single word. Zero communication over this entire time. And
Even though all those people have said you should do it,
yes.
No one has actually reached out and said, "Hey, we want to make a serious offer." Like Daniel getting the offer on his Twitter. So
zero contact. But frankly, he's Johnny Bones. He has the .com. He has the @ He already rebranded years ago, and also not for sale because it's funny for me to have it and deny it.
Well, thank you guys. I do appreciate it. I know it was we ran into some tech issues, but we literally had the 4 of us people to deal with tech issues.
We are here for it.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. I'll keep in touch. I'll let you know when it's going up. Make sure everything went according to plan, or else it's gonna crash and burn, and we have to do this over.
All right.
It's been so much fun. Great seeing you guys face to face. And by the way, Leon, I was just checking out one of your videos of you as the Wasteland character. You look awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna say it's
myself, so
I'm gonna say it's my second favorite version of you. The Kratos is probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
And you can't see it, but I'm gonna be nice about it.
I get to wrestle as Kratos for GalaxyCon, and it is super fun.
That's amazing. Oh God, that was like here last year, dude.
Santa Monica Studios has been actually super cool to me, and like sent me stuff, and they put a lot of my content on Instagram and me in the costume, and so like I get a ton of engagement from them just because they were like such a fan of me putting it together. So it's like a costume that I built myself, and I do pretty much all of it other than the back makeup that I can't reach.
That is so awesome, especially with the beard. Oh man, killing it. Awesome.
Yeah, I cut mine off yesterday, so Leon wins beard competition today.
We're like a gradient of facial hair.
We really are.
That's true.
Gotta go down.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We definitely got to do it again, and hopefully, like you said, things will get back to normal. And John, hopefully you're moving to Florida, because then just me, you, and Daniel, and Leon can just all do this in person.
Yeah.
I actually like tweeting some stuff, and that would be fun.
Yeah. Well,
that would be.
Absolutely. Yeah, that or a Street Fighter tournament, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaq food tournament.
Oh God.
Yes. Oh.
All right. Who's tasked with finding a copy of Shaq
I
food?
will be happy to do so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hey, guys.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
Good to see y'all.
You as well.